Hello. This spring we have a new Yokozuna, but can he march to victory in Osaka? Stop throw!
Roll the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome to the Dohyo here on Mr. JWags channel. We are here and we are ready for some bolder predictions for the upcoming March basho. Some of you have noticed that we have not posted a little bit in the past few weeks. Things have been very busy at work, so for those of you in the New York City area, come on out to Second City, New York and check out our two new shows. The Second City Swipes Right and Sketch and the City. Both of these shows will be open by the end of the week and they are going to be absolutely stunning. The link will be in the description. We hope to see you there. And of course, another huge thank you to all of our patrons over on the Patreon. Go check it out if you haven't yet. The tiers start at $5 a month, and we are now doing a special Hagakioi, patrons only for every basho. So if you cannot get enough Mr. JWags, you are going to want to check this out. Alright, the first bold prediction. Our Komasubi are going to get one winning record and one losing record. Just not entirely sure which one will be which. So our Komasubi are Kirishima and Abi, two guys who have been in the Sanyaku for years, both of them former champions, but unfortunately, both of them have been very, very, very inconsistent recently. I mean, I think last time I even charted Kirishima's win. Like, he's been very, very inconsistent recently. Now, Abi, just due to the nature of like the Abi Sumo, is always just going to be a little bit less consistent than your average wrestler. But Kirishima, it does seem to be a recurring injury. If you haven't checked out Sumo Spiffy's Kirishima breakdown, check it out. So the question is, will Kirishima have enough health this tournament to keep up the excellence he had from the last tournament where he got an 11-4? If Kirishima is feeling his oats, I have him as a dark horse Yusho pick this time. But again, both these guys are super inconsistent, so I'm expecting one of them to not do that well. The bolder prediction, both of our Sekiwake, Daisho and Oho, will get Kachikoshi, and one of them will get a Jun Yusho and be set up in May for a possible Ozeki run. I mean, if you look at Sekiwake, they're at very different points in their career. Daisho, of course, has been a Sanyaku regular for years, also ended up winning a tournament. We're expecting him to hang out up there, but we haven't really expected him to get consistent double-digit wins. Oho seems to have just finally hit his breakout, and we are very, very happy about that here at the Dohyo. But the question is this going to be a thing where he just needs a couple tournaments to get his feet back under him? I am optimistic that he will not this time, because unlike other levels in sumo, when you get up to a different level, you have a whole group of new wrestlers. But now, he's at the top, so he's been sort of facing the same wrestlers for the past year. I think he has sort of passed the roadblock, and I think he's going to get a winning record this time. The real question is Oho ready to get double-digit wins in the Sanyaku? Ooh, we'll see. I was very excited by his 12-3 playoff Jun Yusho last tournament. 2 in a row seems like kind of a big ask, but if he has in fact made the jump, he's young, he's healthy, he's strong. I don't see why he couldn't. Daisho, of course, has been reasonably consistent with the occasional double-digit win tournament, and he got one last tournament, so that tells me he may not be up for 2 in a row as well, but just we haven't seen that from him in the past. But this could be his last best chance to make Ozeki, and I know I've said that every time he's had a good tournament for the past 2 years. My next bold prediction, our Maegashira's one, the Waka brothers, Waka Takakage and Wakamoto Haru, will be the only members of the Joy to get winning records this tournament. Yeah. You may have noticed we have a very short Sanyaku this time. We only have 7 up there. So that means we're going to get a full 8-man Joy going all the way down from Maegashira 1 to Maegashira 4 with probably like a couple extra Maegashira 5s thrown in because of like stable conflicts. Now we're going to talk about this a little more in the 3 up, 3 down, but right now the Maegashiras 2 through 4, I don't really see having a lot of staying power at this moment in the Sanyaku. I mean, we're always hoping for a healthy Takayasu, but you're never quite sure. And guys like Gonoyama could still always hit that next level, but I'm just thinking it's going to be the Waka brothers this time. And the bolder prediction, 2 of Maegashira's 5 through 9 will get double-digit wins. Yeah, Maegashira's 5 through 9 is a little more interesting than it usually is. We have a lot of good, interesting wrestlers down there. Guys like Ura, Kinbozan, Shodai. So the beauty of being like ranked 5 through 9 in this tournament is that they are probably not going to face a lot of the top rankers. I mean, unless they start doing really, really well or the top Maegashira start doing very, very poorly very fast. Well, we have a lovely mix of talented wrestlers down there, old and young. The one I think is most likely to make the 10 plus wins, Maegashira 6 Takeru Fuji. I mean, he's been to Maegashira 6 before, but he didn't actually fight there because he went Kyujo. So he is fighting at his top rank ever. But it does seem that if he is healthy, he gets 10 plus wins in the Sekitori ranks. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt this time. And again, the fact that he won't be facing all top rankers is going to help him a lot this tournament. I don't think he's going to have that chance for many more tournaments. And now it's time for 3 Up, 3 Down, a recurring segment where we look at the Banzuke and find 3 wrestlers who might be overranked and not do too well, and 3 wrestlers who are underranked and might have a great tournament. Number 1 down, Maegashira 2 Chiyoshoma. Okay, so I was wrong about Chiyoshoma in the last tournament. He was also on the down. He ended up getting a 9 and 6. I would like to point out, though, that yes, this was his highest ever ranked Kachikoshi, but he did get a Fusen win, and he didn't do very well against the higher rankers. He was 8 and 1 versus wrestlers ranked under Maegashira 1, but 0 and 5 versus wrestlers ranked Maegashira 1 or above. He's a Maegashira 2. He's not going to be able to hide. I think that Chiyoshoma is going to have a very brief stay in the joy. Maegashira 4, Ichi Yamamoto. Now, he was at Maegashira 10 2 tournaments ago, and then he got 2 consecutive 8 and 7s and is now at Maegashira 4. So that just feels like he might be just out, he might be outrunning his coverage a little bit. I mean, 8 and 7 is 8 and 7. He got a winning record. The luck has bumped him up. I just don't think the skill is there yet. And also, stylistically, he tends to be a bit of what we call like the store brand Abi. We want Abi. We have Abi at home. It's Ichi Yamamoto. So Ichi Yamamoto's crazy man style isn't even going to be a surprise to the people up at the top. They have Abi. They've seen the real deal. So Ichi Yamamoto I would expect to do very poorly in this tournament. And, Maegashira 7 Tamawashi. This one hurts. All right. He's been doing pretty well for the past year, considering the man is 40. But Maegashira 7 seems to be like the soft ceiling for this portion of his career. So I would expect him to get like a 6 and 9, a 7 and 8. Nothing too drastic, but I don't see him getting a winning record up here. Especially because, as I said, Maegashira's 5 through 9 are actually looking pretty good this tournament. And yes, I would love to be wrong about this. And now for the 3 Up, Maegashira 6, Hirado Umi. Oh, it's good to have a positive one for Hirado Umi, finally. So Hirado Umi ended up making it all the way up to Komusubi last year, got a double-digit wins in his Komusubi debut, and then ever since then has just gotten Makekoshi. Some element of it is he's just a smaller wrestler, and I just don't think he has just the mass to excel at that high of a rank. But I think just going down 1 rank from Maegashira 5 to Maegashira 6 is going to help his chances a lot this tournament. As I was saying before, like these guys in 5 through 9 are not going to be facing the top rankers. Last tournament at Maegashira 5, he ended up facing 4 Sanyaku members, including 2 Ozeki. The last tournament at Maegashira 6, Takayasu only ended up facing 2 Sanyaku, and none of them were Ozeki or higher. So, a healthy, motivated Hirado Umi below the joy, I say that's a Kachikoshi. Maegashira 15 Aonishiki. Yes! Alright, so Aonishiki has now tied the record for quickest rise from Maezumo to the Makauchi division with 9. Tying, of course, Jokoryu and recent Takeru Fuji. This record's really getting a workout. Now, I said before, he is young, but he is also a little bit undersized, so I think he is going to end up hitting his ceiling this year in Makauchi, but not this time. I mean, when you're coming off of 2 consecutive double-digit wins in Judo, I'm willing to expect you're getting a winning record in low Maegashira. The true talent level is pretty similar at this point. While I'm not expecting him to be a contender, I am expecting at least 9 wins from Aonishiki. And our final up, Makushita 30 Enho. Enho is back. So some of you who are new to the sport may not know who Enho is, and I must tell you. He was a protege of Hakuho, the Yokozuna, but he was this wee little lotus prince of a man, but ended up working his way into Makauchi. Then, in 2023, he ended up getting a severe injury and ended up dropping all the way down to the lower divisions, like a tiny Terunofuji, and then he came back and is working his way back through the ranks, and he's just made it back to Makushita. He has 4 straight 6 and 1 records, launching him through the lower ranks up into Makushita. Not expecting a 6 and 1 this time, but I am expecting a winning record, and hopefully Enho will be back in Judo by the end of the year. Quick sidebar. So some of you may not know, but the qualifications to get elder stock or to become a sumo elder after you retire is tied to how long you were a sumo wrestler and how highly you were ranked. So wrestlers need 30 basho at Juryo or above, 20 at Maegashira or above, or they qualify automatically if they get Sanyaku. And then if you get Ozeki or Yokozuna, you get preferential treatment. You don't even need to claim elder stock in the first few years after you retire. That's a whole separate thing. The point is that Enho currently is at 29 basho at Judo or above. So he needs just 1 more tournament on the Banzuke in Judo. So good luck, my magical Lotus Prince. Quick sidebar. Now it's time for a Which Way We Going, a recurring segment where we look at wrestlers who seem to be at a crossroads in their career and we discuss which way they're going. Maegashira 5 Kinbozan. Alright, we probably expected him to be here. Alright, Kinbozan finally had his breakout at age 27 in Lower Maegashira. He ended up getting a playoff loss, Junyusho. This is all looking great for Kinbozan. As I said before, I had bought a lot of Kinbozan stock when he was coming up, but he sort of just seemed tied in Low Maegashira, High Judyo for a year or so. I mean, if we look at his history, he only has one Kachikoshi in single-digit Maegashira. So, historically, this should not be a good tournament for him. But, if this is in fact a leap in his sumo, I would expect him to do pretty well in this sub-Joy Maegashira ranks of the 5 to 9. Interesting group, like I said. And he's coming off of 2 consecutive 12 and 3s, which normally we'd be yeah, but right before that he was coming off 2 consecutive 4 and 11s, which makes it very confusing and very hard to pick. My heart wants Kinbozan to do well. It's always interesting when we have some more good, big pusher thrusters up there. But right now, just not sure. Maegashira 14 Chuda no Umi. Now, Chuda no Umi I found interesting because he sort of came to Makuuchi very late in his career, in his 30s, but then started doing well. People started noticing. John Gunning even shouted him out on one of the NHK previews. And then, right after that, he got 2 straight 10 and 5s, and then now 2 straight 4 and 11s. I have not heard about any injuries, but this guy's going to be 32 before the next basho. If he has more in him, we need to start seeing it soon. He just looked so solid and so good before. If this isn't an injury, then he is speed running aging out of sumo at this point. Maegashira 9 Hakuoho. Now, much like Takeru Fuji, he's coming off of a severe injury, but has 2 consecutive double-digit wins, which is awesome. I just can't give him quite the same benefit of the doubt as I gave Takeru Fuji, just because Takeru Fuji's ceiling has shown to be a bit higher. Maegashira 9 is currently Hakuoho's highest rank. What is the ceiling right now? I really hope it's not Maegashira 9, but will he need time to adjust at this level? This is, again, mid-Maegashira is going to be interesting this tournament. And speaking again one more time of that middle group of Maegashira 8, Atami Fuji. Yeah, he shot up the ranks so fast, he ended up getting 2 Junyusho in a row, and then he just hit the top of the Maegashira ranks and just plateaued. But now it's not even a plateau anymore, now it's going down a little bit. He's wrestling at his lowest rank since 2023, he's only gotten 1 winning record in his last 5 tournaments, he has just come out and said I have osteoarthritis in my hip. Is this the peak for Atami Fuji at age 22? I mean, I really hope not, but he's not given us much cause for optimism, and I'm afraid he has been left in my own personal young hotness rankings by Oho. Here are 2 vets who are right next to each other on the Banzuke who I'm going to combine. Maegashira 16 Kota Shoho and Maegashira 17 Matake Yumi. Yeah. Alright, so we have 2 veterans who have been just tanking recently and just charging their way down the Banzuke. Now, Kota Shoho, a relatively young sort of wunderkind who ended up getting a Junyusho. It's yeah, he's gonna do well, but then injuries have been constant. Only 15 total wins in his last 3 tournaments, and Matakayumi is doing even worse. Only 13 total wins in his last 3 tournaments. So the question is, can they pull out of the dive? Now, Matakayumi is 32. He's 7 years older than Kota Shoho, so obviously I'm a little bit more worried that there's not gonna be a, 4th act for Matakayumi at this point. But Kota Shoho has also built up a lot of miles, and I'm a little worried about his future. In fact, all of the low Maegashira vets should be pretty worried right now. This Banzuke is showing a huge upward movement from the last tournament. First, we have 3 Makuuchi promotees who are fighting at their highest career rank. 10 out of the 28 Judyo wrestlers are fighting at their top rank ever, and 5 of the top 8 Makushita are fighting at their top rank. Now, not all of them are just going to continue shooting up to Makuuchi, but that seems to be a lot of upward momentum on the Banzuke right now. So to our older veterans, look out. Alright, the next bold prediction. Despite recent trends, Hoshoryu will not win his Yokozuna debut. So yes, I know 2 points make a line, but I just don't see this as turning into a trend. Now again, this is nothing against Hoshoryu, but I do think he is fundamentally a different wrestler than Kiseno Sato and Teruno Fuji were when they had their debuts. First of all, Kiseno Sato and Teruno Fuji were at the middle ends of their career when they got promoted, and Hoshoryu, hopefully, is still at the top, figuring his stuff out. So he's still got a ways to go in his development. And 2, Kisano Sato and Terunofuji both had things to prove in that first tournament. Kisano Sato, of course, was promoted with only 1 Yusho, which was a little controversial at the time, so he wanted to make sure he got those 2 consecutive Yusho to really clamp down on that Yokozuna promotion, which he had already gotten. And Terunofuji, of course, ended up losing a possible Zensho to Hakuho in Hakuho's final match before turning Yokozuna. So, of course, it made sense that he'd want to, really put a stamp on that Yokozuna tenure with a Yusho in his first tryout. And while, of course, Hoshoryu is motivated, I don't think he has any sort of specific FU at this moment in time that he's trying to get out of the sumo world. I do expect him to, bolder prediction, get 10 plus wins, but give up multiple Kinboshi. And again, I say this not to be petty, but I say this because Hoshoryu has never had a Makuuchi tournament where he hasn't lost to a Maegashira. In fact, he only has 1 tournament where he only has 1 loss against the Maegashira. That was his 13-2 Yusho that just happened. So yes, I'm just looking at Hoshoryu's entire career and saying there's a real good chance he loses to multiple Maegashira in this tournament. But I don't expect that to completely derail him. At least 10 wins for Hoshoryu in his debut. All right, bold prediction, and I don't have any inside information on this one. This one is just coming from the soul. I think Kotazakura is going to come back healthy enough to clear Kataban and get 10 plus wins. If he comes back super healthy, I do expect him to be challenging for the Yusho, but I do expect him to have enough ganas and enough body health to be able to clear Kataban this tournament. Come on, Kotazakura, you got this. And the Yusho pick, probably not that surprising. I'm going with an Ono Sato 13-2 Yusho. All right, I admit, Ono Sato has not done as well as I had hoped since his last Yusho, but still, when a 9-6 seems to be your floor at the very top of professional sumo, that seems to me to be a real safe floor. Now, he has shown vulnerabilities and he has shown things he needs to work on, but he's still very young and he still has a very, very healthy body and he is still huge. I expect him to take these last 2 tournaments as a personal affront, step in the ring, and clean up this time. 13-2, 3rd Yusho for Ono Sato. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Dohyo. Please like and subscribe. I cannot tell you how much pushing the buttons actually helps the show. And of course, they are free. And for those of you with a little bit extra Dohyo love and a little bit extra spare cash, please check out the Patreon. We start at $5 a month, and I promise you, it supports the channel so much. More support means more episodes. Stick around for all of the March coverage. You're not going to want to miss our mid-basho quick strikes and the recap. And of course, I have a Terunofuji tribute that is just waiting to be released. So stay tuned for that. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.